Hey there, you're listening to Horribly Off Topic with Chris and Steve.
Yeah, we didn't go for one of those crazy flashy opens that we've been doing lately.
No, we're lazy.
Yeah, this week has just been like, I don't know, it's just a weird, like, not much happened week.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be, like, eking the podcast by because we're a bunch of assholes that hate you. And so, episode 25...
Yeah.
Hey, I said it early.
You did say it early. Just before, we were like, are we going to say it in the intro? You said we usually say it halfway through, and we get it out there.
Yeah, I just wanted to prove myself wrong.
But you were right, Steve. That's how we ended last episode. You're right. You're always correct.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
No.
Hey, I heard there was a story. No, wait,
I already told the story, but I don't know. That became like it just became a thing of legend in college, where like. It was. I think the big proponents were actually Leo and Brian.
Yeah.
Talking about that story and trying to get people to.
They were the setup guys.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they'd be like, dude, you should tell that story. And I'd be like, I'd very much not like, I'd play it up very much that I did not want to tell the story.
Right.
And, in a way, I kind of didn't because it was in fact terrible, but like it sort of became something that I more and more wanted to talk about just because of the fact that I was just annoying people with a terrible story, but they thought it was going to be good.
I'm trying to think. I don't think that I had anything equivalent in my own college experience of like even just a terrible story.
Joke? Or do you just have a gag that went through college?
A gag that went... No. Did
you have fun in college besides like...
that's a good question. Do I have fun ever is an even better question. But fun in college, yes.
Because we talked about your, losing your virginity and going
which
to the
didn't sound like that much fun.
Yeah, no. And we talked about you being at the computer lab.
Yes.
On chat rooms.
I don't know. I mean, I did some theater. I did a lot of writing. I
remember John and I came up to see one of your plays once.
Yes. Did you come see Looking to Promise, the one with...
yeah, I remember what it was called.
No.
That thing that happened more than 10 years ago?
I was going to try and elaborate on it.
Okay.
I was not going to just give you the title.
Yeah, I went to see that one, obviously.
Were you there?
I kept the program. You signed it.
I'm trying to remember. You might have been there the same night as John Martin and Ken came and saw this show where there's a joke about Ken, and no, probably not ringing a bell.
No, I think John was in it.
Oh, okay. So that was that would have been my senior project.
Okay,
so that was a year later.
All right,
but my favorite college theater experience in terms of something on stage, and to answer the question of did I have fun in college, my friend Ken, who maybe we've talked about here and there.
I don't think we brought him up a lot.
Okay.
If much at all.
Everybody
go back and listen to all 24 episodes up to this point again.
Yes.
Download them again or whatever.
One place where you could definitely, once you've finished listening to the 24 episodes of this show and written us an email telling us that, yes, we did talk about it in this episode, or no, we didn't talk about it at all. Why did you make me listen to these 24 episodes again, you fucks? However you'd like. And you send that email to hot@clarkwoods.com. So once you've done all that...
Make sure you give us 5 stars on iTunes.
Yes, and once you've done that, there is an episode of my previous podcast... Generation Goat. The episode number 1 was actually called The Ken Mills Experience. And I'm pretty sure that we talked about Ken throughout the entire run of that show, which may still be running. I don't know. John and I haven't done an episode in a while, in a year almost. But anyway, there may be more about Ken there.
Then sorry, right now. Listen to that and then listen to this, and then you can listen maybe to the same things over again.
Yeah.
And then you can get confused.
Like I am right now. Oh, no, I was talking about Ken. Ken, now I've said I said his last name,
yeah,
so
but
now
it's on another fucking podcast, so whatever.
Okay. So Ken at one point dated this young woman who later turned out to be a lesbian, at least for some portion of the time after they stopped dating. I don't know if she's still a lesbian. I have no idea what her name is. She could be a nun right now, for all I know.
What do we want to call her, just so we don't say Ken's lesbian or post-lesbian girlfriend?
Can't we just call her Ken's post-lesbian girlfriend?
I don't know. Can we just give her a name?
Let's call her, for the sake of argument...
You're a writer. Think of a name.
Ranma.
That's a boy name.
I don't know. Ranma, one half the DVD set or something is sitting on your bed, and I just... Oh, okay. Ranma's a boy's name. Let's go with Nala.
Nala?
Nala.
That's an interesting name.
Nala is it's a character from The Lion King. So...
Oh...
I don't know why she really needs a name, because she's out of this story in 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, fine. We'll call her Nala for the 5 seconds
Ken
we talk
dates
about
Nala, and Nala it turns out to be a lesbian, and we all have a laugh at Ken's expense, except that me, as a writer, I decide to have a laugh at Ken's expense in a play. Because every laugh that I have at someone's expense ends up in something.
So am I going to be in your next play?
I don't know.
Jackass, I do my podcast.
The play that I'm working on right now takes place in 1977. So no, you will not be in my next play.
Or is it the story of your conception or something?
It is not. No. So Ken dates this girl. Turns out to be a lesbian, Nala. And I make fun of it in the play.
So basically what you're saying is she leses out.
Yes. So make fun of it in a play, but I disguise Ken's name, and in the play, the character's name is Billy Mills.
Oh, wow.
But I make the mistake of telling this story to my actors in the midst of Tech Week, and the actor who has to deliver the line... she's playing a lesbian who's the last time that she saw a dick was Billy Mills. She hears the story and she says, "No, I'm saying Ken." And I said, "Please don't. He's coming to see the show." And he said, "I don't know. Maybe I'll listen to you. Maybe I won't." And so,
what a great director you are.
Lots of authority coming from me. The evening that Ken comes to the performance, she goes ahead and says Ken Mills on stage. And the video camera is like 2 feet away from where John and Ken are sitting. And I'm pretty sure, although it's barely audible, you can hear what John turned to Ken and said, which was, "Ken, you suck." In the midst of all of the laughter, just ragging on a friend who'd just been ragged on stage. Now, nobody on campus had any idea who Ken was, right? As far as they're concerned, Ken was a made-up name. So the only people who had any idea that it was a real person are all of you listening now, and Ken and John.
Does Ken listen?
No, I don't think Ken listens.
See, I don't remember him. Was he a high school person?
Ken,
Ken, this is just probably like your brother in Leo in Brian.
You might have met him once. I don't know. So Ken was a member of my terrible high school band. He was friends with John, and we all met through the comic book store, through Hot Comics.
Then why didn't I know this guy? That's where I got my fucking comics.
So Ken was did he go to the Vogue? I don't know. He lived in Lowell, but he went to like the Greater Lowell Vogue or something like that. And the only way that I knew him was through John and through the people at the comic book store. But the thing about Ken was that he was a tall dude. He was a kind of a big dude. And he had a receding hairline pretty early in life.
That don't make you a bad person, though.
And a full-on beard. So Ken looked way older than Ken was. Ken was my age. He was, I think he's born in 77.
So did he buy booze for people? That was his claim to fame?
No, although I do have another Ken story where he, it's not, he did sometimes get booze without intending to, so he went
How do you get booze without intending to?
Hong and Kong, the Chinese food restaurant in our humble hometown of Chelmsdale, Massachusetts.
Yeah, if you're in the town staying at the Sheridan, is that the one that's in the center?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, if you're staying at the Sheridan, it's right there.
Yeah.
Go get yourself some greasy Chinese food.
Yes.
And really strong Mai Tais.
Ken ordered a scorpion bowl, but without the whatever the alcohol is that's in the scorpion
basically,
bowl.
he ordered a very large bowl of juice.
Yes. And they brought him an alcoholic scorpion bowl without carding him, without anything. So
who gets a scorpion bowl? Like,
I don't know.
Without booze in it?
I don't know. Ken.
Maybe that was his like plan. He's like, I'll order this without booze, and then they'll put booze in it.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I had fun once in college by making fun of Ken on stage.
That was the only time you ever had fun.
The only time. No, I had fun other times, but I mean, I was known amongst my my group of friends
as the guy who never masturbated.
I don't know about that. I don't know what they thought. And if you're one of my college friends and you're listening to this, you can write an email and tell me what you thought was going on. My entire freshman year, I spent most of the time. When I wasn't in class, in my room drawing a comic book. This was an extension of the comic that I wrote and drew and sold at the comic store.
Was that like the one we were writing?
No, it was a different one.
What was it? I only vaguely remember it, but it was like a toilet.
Yeah. Well, you and my brother and I were at my house. Maybe you were sleeping over. My parents had gone to bed, whatever, and we were all hanging out, and we decided we were going to do an anthology comic that was called, I think, 1001 Slap Happy Tales. And the furthest we got in it was the cover. And we stapled the pages together, and we each had a section. And I think I drew my section, and then there was a section for yours and a section for my brother's. But they were blank. We did the cover, and then we did the rest. And yes, there was a toilet. There was a dog that maybe was a magician.
A magician dog?
I think so.
Was he wearing a top hat?
And I feel like there was a toothbrush, but I don't know.
Well, we should have got the what was it? The American Dental Association to sponsor this comic.
Yes.
And the American Poop Association. Is that a thing?
I don't know. So I was drawing this comic in my dorm room for most of freshman year, and people would come and try to get me out to come out and socialize, and I just was like, no, I'm gonna stay in here and do this. And I got really good at drawing comics freshman year, and then my art teacher killed my desire to do any art.
Yeah, they have a tendency to do that.
They do have a tendency to do that.
Because I quit out pretty early. That we talked about it before, but that it was freshman year when I was in.
It was freshman year of high school though for you.
Yeah, right? Freshman year of high school that I was just like, oh, I'm not good enough for this.
Yeah.
And I'll just doodle the things that I doodle, and it'll be fine. But I'm not like a professional.
Yeah, I think a lot of creative teachers in the creative arts, and I'd include creative writing in there, although it's usually grouped with the humanities, which is strange. Have a tendency to either crush their students' spirits or turn their students into derivative versions of themselves. And it's...
so what do you do?
I try...
to crush them as much as possible?
I try to let them be themselves and set them on their own path. And many of them, go on to have more success than I have.
Well, that's good. You're instructing the youth of tomorrow today.
Yeah. I got a text or a Facebook message or a Twitter DM from a student, and apparently my students...
Young teacher... the subject.
Former student.
Oh, Jesus.
No, that made my day earlier this week or last week where, the students do seem to like me and do seem to get something. So hopefully I'm not one of those students. I'm one of those teachers that's crushing young artists' spirits. But at any rate... What the hell was I talking about?
I don't know.
The one time I had fun in
college.
college.
Don't stand so close to me.
I was really good at that in Rock Band. And then I remembered what the lyrics were about, and that I was a teacher, and I was like, I should stop singing this.
Well, where were you singing it? At
in
home?
My house.
Yeah, with the kids around?
No. But still, the fact that I as a teacher was singing that song and having such a good time singing that song, I was like,
Did you get a rod while you were singing it?
Aw. I did a fun.
It's probably good that Steph doesn't listen to the show.
No, God,
she'd probably be like, "I don't think you should do this anymore."
Yeah, no. So yeah, I had fun once or twice. I have a hard time having fun. I have games on my phone, on my Wii at home that I don't use that much. But I feel guilty when I play them.
Why?
Because I should be doing other things.
Like what?
Like working on making money for the podcast, or working on making money for...
I'm pretty much content with the fact that we're never going to make any money. If we ever do, that's cool.
Yeah. Or, making... Like, I have this Patreon thing that I use to make money off of my writing. Or, like, maybe I should be doing something with that. Or I should be working on the courses that I teach, which sometimes do bring me money.
Sometimes.
But we just spent $5,000 on a new furnace.
You had to get
a whole new furnace. Yeah, because the guy came in, took a look at it. He said it would cost $1,300 to possibly fix the old one, and I was just and at the end of that $1,300, if one of the things they tried to do didn't work, it was going to be an extra however many 100,000 whatever
100,000
100 or 1,000.
Oh jeez.
Hundreds or $1,000 to, and I was just like,
and so like if you're going to try to unload this place at any point,
right? Yeah,
you want to like have a brand. Yeah. One of the selling points would be like it has a brand new furnace.
But I mean, at this point,
and a brand new AC.
Yeah,
because you get that in the
brand
summer.
New furnace, brand new AC, and we are just. I think completely maxed out on every bit of credit that we can get.
Well, that's one of the things that it sucks, but things like the gas prices might be able to help you here and there.
I mean, the reality is we went like almost 2 weeks with little to no heat. So our gas bill for January, which would usually be one of the highest ones of the year, will probably be substantially lower because we couldn't run our fucking furnace.
We couldn't run the furnace, and gas prices are lower. Yeah. So like compared to last year, your January it'll be like probably half, if not less than that.
Yeah.
So
always look
making
on the
AIDS
bright
with lemonade
side of life.
Hey, your phone's ringing.
My phone's ringing. Sorry about that. Now I gotta
pick up your phone.
Now I gotta edit that out.
No, you don't.
Well, now that we made a deal about it, I don't have to edit it out.
See, look at that.
So, gas prices have gone down, which, and at the pump, which will be nice because in addition to not going in 5 days a week, I'm going in 3 days a week this semester. I will hopefully pay less.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're driving less, and the amount, since gas prices are, they've gone at least $1, if not more, down from a year ago.
Yeah.
And so you're saving, I have an 11-gallon tank, so you probably have about the same.
I have about a 13-gallon tank.
How do you have more?
I don't know. I looked it up. It's like a 13-gallon tank. And that thing never runs out. Stephanie gets paranoid when she sees the light come on.
Yeah.
But the gas light, fill me up light on my car, comes on when there's still anywhere from 2 to 3 gallons left in the tank.
That's weird.
It's really odd.
But we have the same exact car.
We have almost the same.
Yours a model year.
I don't
before.
know. Maybe it's. I don't know. You have the EX, the LX, all that kind of.
I have
crap.
the LE.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I don't know which one I have. I looked at the manual. The manual told me it's like 13.1 gallons.
I definitely got 11 because the gas light comes on basically when you have it's supposed to come on when you have a gallon left.
Yeah.
So since I get average in between 30 and 37 miles per gallon, depending if I'm driving more on the highway or not, then I'm like, I can go 30 miles.
Yeah. I shouldn't let it go as much as I do, but that's how I found out how much. I was like, okay, I should have run out of gas. And then I made it to my destination, and I looked at the thing, and it said, I have 13 whatever gallon tank. So I can regularly, if I think the furthest I've gotten in terms of getting to a gas pump and filling it up is I've gotten there and I had to put in 12.9.
That's crazy.
So I have sort of coasted into a gas station on fumes. I should not do that because one of the other things that happened to me in college was that I came back from a concert once, and I went to school up in Haverhill, Massachusetts at Bradford College. So if you're familiar with the area, you will understand this story. I was driving back from a concert, I think from an Oasis concert, which makes...
That's the second time I made that face at you today.
The second time you made that face today. I think it was an Oasis concert. Maybe a Cure concert.
Could you be more emo?
Well, I had friends who were very emo, and I was their ride. And I'm driving back, and I think I had enough money to either fill my tank or get a concert T-shirt, and I chose to get the concert T-shirt. And
you didn't have like the people you gave a ride to give you gas money.
That's probably why I had enough money to buy the concert T-shirt. Anyway, so I'm driving back.
Was this the old shitbox that you had?
This is the old shitbox. This is the old Ford Tempo. May she rest in peace. I got to exit 48, which is where you'd get off to go to Bradford. At least that's where I would get off. And I ran out of gas right there.
On the off ramp?
Just as I was about to get onto the off ramp. And I didn't have AAA at the time.
Did anybody in the car have AAA?
No, at this point I was alone because I had dropped off everybody back in Lowell. So I'm back late at night. Everyone that I know is asleep and at school and doesn't have cars. I'm the idiot who has a car, and my car runs out of gas right there at the off ramp. So I had to walk back to campus, leave my car there, and then
Did
the
you
next
get one
morning.
Of those stickers on it? Like sometimes the cops will put like a big sticker on the rear
I don't think
view.
it was there for long enough. I mean, I think I came back. It was the wee hours of the morning by the time I was coming back.
The Nintendo wee hours of the morning? We're not actually brought to you by Nintendo Wii.
No. So I shouldn't let my car come that close to running out of gas. I should know better.
Yes.
But I do.
When John and I were coming back from Montreal, I was getting very dangerously close to running out. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get back into the States to get gas because up in Canada, it's like, I don't know how many liters there are per gallon, but it's probably close to 4, I think. Mm-hmm. And like per liter, it was like 99 cents, and I was like, "Jeez." Yeah, so it was considerably more to fill up in Canada. So I
wait until you got it.
But I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to make it if we have to wait at the border for a second."
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
So in that case, I mean, you put a little bit in.
I just used whatever Canadian cash I had left to just do it that way.
We and there have been times, considering how cash strapped we've been, and we've been cash strapped for a very long time since we had kids, pretty much.
For all of you folks out there thinking about having kids, remember, have some money.
Yeah. Well, or and I think I've mentioned in the past,
or be significantly more poor.
That's true too. We had to go through the in vitro fertilization process, which is a big expense, even if you are
on insurance.
Even if you are on insurance. So we had great insurance, but we had to COBRA that insurance in order to. And then we were putting... anyway, so we've always been in debt since we had kids. So there have been times, to get back to the gas point, which was where we sought out what was the cheapest gas in town, and we never went anyplace else, or Stephanie never went anyplace else. But I just got to the point where I was like, wherever there's fucking gas and that's where I am, I'm going to get it. So right across the street from our house, as we've talked about, there's a
7-Eleven.
There's a 7-Eleven, and that's where I go. Unless I am absolutely down to fumes, and then I will do the $3 or $5 or $3 to get me
well, here in Air, it's a good 10 cents more than anywhere else in the region, at least, if not 20 cents more.
Right.
And so I never buy gas in town here.
Yeah.
I usually buy it in Westford, which is surprisingly cheaper. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. I guess that maybe the town of Air has a significant gas tax because the prices are not going down with the rest of the area.
Yeah.
Even if it's just right down the road in Littleton. Mm-hmm. Getting local for you.
That should be on our t-shirt. Getting local for you.
We do. We constantly get local.
Yeah. I mean, so we used to seek out those kind of bargains everywhere, and then it just got to a point where, we are in debt, and maybe we should be seeking out bargains everywhere. But
the thing is, the amount of gas that you would have to waste going to the bargain place that's up the road.
Yeah.
So it's not out of my way to get gas in Westford because I can get it on the way to work.
Yeah.
But
no, you're absolutely right, and that was basically where I came down to it. And I think Steph's at that point now too, where I'm like, should I be looking for a better deal? She's like, no, across the street is fine. It's good.
Yeah, because you waste the amount of gas that you're going to save, or the amount of money that you're going to save going to the place that's
because
down.
in Merrimack is a very tall, makes no sense, but it's a north to south, it's a very large town. And so to get to the cheaper place, you're going 3, 4, 5 miles out of your way.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But I'm glad gas prices are coming down. I'm glad for our strong economy. Thanks, Obama.
Come on, really? I already got yelled at for blaming Obamacare on Obama.
No, I was being sarcastic. Okay. I saw the other day, and I wanted to take a picture of it. Headlines about the deficit being at the lowest that it's been in X number of years.
That's the deficit. They really made a mess of it. That's the deficit. Rag. That was from The Simpsons.
Nice. Good call out. But I did not get my mandated health insurance again because we can't afford it. We can barely afford the bills that we have. But I'm sure we'll get penalized at tax time, which is fun. And I'm just going to deal with it.
Yeah, well, it's not like they're going to take more taxes from you. You're just going to lose some that you already paid.
Right. Yeah, we'll lose some of the refund. I don't. Is that what I don't know, and I will find out in April or whenever I do the
April.
Tax. Yeah.
Oh wait, you have more complex tax returns than I do.
Yeah, I mean, this year in theory it will be it'll be less complicated because we'll only have one W-2 for each of us. But I also run a quote-unquote business that makes almost no money.
And you have to claim the minimal amounts of cash that are coming in?
Yeah, I have to do something about that. So whenever I do the taxes, I guess I'm going to find out if it's an above-the-line fine or a below-the-line fine in terms of what I'm being fined for not having had health insurance this past year.
But you probably get a little bit more back than folks like me because you have children that you can claim.
Yeah. I mean, we got far less back last year because one of the ways that we've been staying above water is by deferring our student loans, and we used to get a ridiculously good deduction on student loan interest, but now we can't afford to pay them every month, so we lose that. We do get deductions for the kids, and we do all right in that respect. But
I can't claim my student loan interest anymore because it's below the threshold. I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't pay enough in interest anymore. Yeah. It's less than $500 a year.
Well, because both me and my wife were so smart, we decided to go out and get ourselves master's degrees. We'll be paying for. At any rate, yay, student loan.
That's the deficit, right?
Gas prices are cheaper. I don't know how to have fun. Well, I mean, I have fun in some ways. I like to read. Although, again, like the video games on my phone, sometimes when I sit down to read, I feel guilty for sitting down to read. So I read a lot of a book this week, but one of the ways I made myself be allowed to read that book is by deciding that I might use it as a textbook in my class. And so therefore, since I might use it as a textbook in my class, it counts as work, and I'm allowed to do it without guilt.
But you read a book about Pixar, am I not
I did
correct?
read a book about Pixar called Creativity Inc. by...
Okay, so basically it's saying this is stuff that creative people have written... Yeah, it's written by a guy that's talking about creative people.
Yeah, it's by Ed Catmull, who has been with Pixar from the beginning.
Okay, so it's a sort of an autobiography.
Yeah, it's like an autobiography, but it's about the company. The stuff that I like the best, because certainly a lot of the advice that he gives is kind of not necessarily common sense, but stuff that you've heard before, you've read before. It's nice.
Me personally, or
anybody who's read any business book or who's above the age of 30.
Okay.
Who's been working for a while and has any common sense has heard this stuff. It's nice to be reminded of it. Like, I like that stuff, and that's why I kind of want to use it as a textbook, because I have an internship class I teach, and it's about students in the humanities. The artsy-fartsy people finally having to go out and do work, right? And so I like this book as a kind of way of teaching them, like, all right, so here's the intersection of your artsy-fartsiness and making money. So I might use it as a textbook in that class. But all of us who've been out of college for a while kind of understand that.
Yeah, because like I guess communications is a human.
Yeah, I mean it's maybe less artsy fartsy than creative writing, but it's still like it's about creativity.
Yeah, it's not because like the papers that I wrote in college were not. I didn't have to cite things or whatever. It was just mostly creative writing, if not just writing about my feelings.
Yeah. So he raises a lot of points that like I'm glad to have them back in my brain again. But the reason that I keep powering through it is he keeps bringing up as his sort of examples. He's able to bring up the films that Pixar made, which is of all, if you're going to read a book about business or about creativity or any of these things, it's only ever going to be as interesting, in my opinion, as the examples that the person brings up. And so it doesn't hurt that, like, when he's talking about overcoming difficulties and balancing work and life, that he's able to point to Toy Story 2, which was apparently a very tumultuous time for the company.
Really?
Yes. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure. Well, what I've been thinking about doing now when people ask what I do, I think I'm just going to say I make widgets. Which is what they talk about in like intro to business classes.
Yeah, widgets.
Where like, oh, we're making widgets.
Yep.
It's just a fictional thing.
I want to see the person that makes widgets.
I make spacely sprockets.
Do you have a robot made?
I don't. But the thing is, like, the Jetsons was supposed to be set in 1997.
Oh God, I did not know that.
Or in the late 90s.
Yeah,
something around there.
Yeah.
So it was just like.
What? So where were all the people who are now complaining about not having their fucking hoverboards? Where were they in 1997? Were they complaining about the Jetsons?
I don't think they really knew, because like it's not like they really. I don't think they explicitly said it a lot, but I think it was assumed.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I could be really wrong, and if I am, go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit. Because I was right last week a lot.
You were right last week.
So I've made up for a lot of being wrong.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that you were right last week. It was that you were right in all the previous weeks.
I was right a whole lot in like several weeks.
Because we still haven't gotten Brian's email about last week.
Last week I was also right about all the things that Leo was talking about.
Okay.
Which makes no fucking sense. I was right about the things that someone else was referring to.
Yes. Toy Story 2 was really interesting.
I had never seen that one.
You've never seen Toy Story 2?
I've seen the first one and the third one.
Apparently, when I saw, of course, the first time I saw Toy Story 2, well, at least the first time I saw it at home, I saw it on VHS the day after, or the day that I had my wisdom teeth out. And my wisdom teeth, because of a series of dumb decisions I made, ended up getting infected. The places where the
were you just pouring bacteria on them?
No, I just decided to eat solid food too early, and some of the solid food got into got into the crevice or wherever, where the teeth had been.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to get into the crevice.
Yeah,
sexual innuendo.
Anyway, the first time I ever saw it, I was kind of not feeling great. So it's never stood out in my brain as a really good one. But
is that the one with Woody's Roundup in it?
It is one with Woody's Roundup.
Because Mike kept on playing that fucking song when I was in Seattle, and it gets in your brain and makes you want to kill things. It's time for Woody's Roundup, right here every day, just in case anybody who has seen the movie or has heard the song before
needed to get it stuck in their head again.
There you go. Enjoy, fuckers.
It's thought of as better than the original. I don't know if it's thought of as better than the third one, but it is very highly regarded, Toy Story 2.
Just in case you forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah. But I guess what was happening at the time, and I go to the book for the authoritative version of this, but what was happening at the time is that Disney asked them to produce it as a direct-to-video sequel,
because that's what they were really good at doing.
That's what they were doing at the time. Lion King 2, Little Mermaid 2, they were doing all 2s direct to video.
Because there's probably a bigger profit margin.
There was a huge profit margin, yeah.
Because they're still going to get the video sales. I mean, but you're not going to be putting as much effort and or it's basically going to be television animation.
Yeah.
But we're going to sell it instead of putting it on TV.
Instead of putting it on TV, yeah. And that's what you would see is that the if you watch the credits of all of those movies, you would see that the television crews were the ones that were working on this, not the motion picture crews. At any rate, so Pixar starts working on it as if it were going to be a direct-to-VHS release, and then they just realize that like that's not what they do. That's not in their DNA. They're not the kind of company that's going to sacrifice quality just to make a buck. And so they're I think they're possibly also working on Bug's Life at the same time, because Bug's Life was their second. And they just churn it into overdrive to hit this deadline of getting it out on time. But they make so many sort of managerial mistakes along, even though they turn in a fantastic product, they make so many high demands on their people that they have to do like a huge debrief afterwards and realize where they fucked up. They fucked up so bad in terms of expectations on their people that a guy drove to work one day. He was supposed to drop his kid off at daycare. He gets to his office. This has a happy ending. I'll preface it that way.
He gets jerked off?
No, he. They do have a lot of perks at Pixar, but I don't think that's one of them.
Darn. Hey, Robin Thug, come across the street, hey!
He gets to his desk. His wife calls to ask how the drop-off at daycare went, and only then does he realize his kid is still in the car, out in the hot parking lot. Ambulances rush in. The kid turns out to be, it's a baby.
Only slightly cooked.
Turns out to be fine. But that they realize is that they have such dedicated employees that those employees, if not kept in check, will work themselves to the bone. I think he said something like 9 out of 10, maybe not even that high, a high percentage of their employees ended up with repetitive stress injuries as a result of Toy Story 2. They produced an awesome movie, but they nearly killed themselves doing it.
So definitely rub and tugs next time, Pixar, whatever the fuck the name of your company is.
And that's just one of the stories. That's the one that stands out. I've been looking at a screenwriting book, reviewing a screenwriting book recently, where they use Up, the screenplay for Up, as...
Which is a bummer at the beginning.
It is a bummer at the beginning, but it's
fantastic... spoiler alert, his wife dies and she's barren before she dies.
Yep.
Fuck you.
But it's a great screenplay. It's a great structured screenplay. Made a lot of money at the box office, touched a lot of hearts and minds.
Yeah.
So this other book...
Ed Asner got to do a little voice acting.
He did.
As an old curmudgeon. He got to be himself.
It works really well. So in this screenwriting book, and I'll try to remember the name of it and put it in the show notes. In the screenwriting book, they're referring to Up. And in Ed Catmull's book, the one I've been talking about, Creativity Inc., they talk about it. Apparently, almost nothing that we see in the final version of Up was there in the original version. The balloons and the bird. Like the whatever the bird's name.
I don't remember what the bird's name. I remember the talking dog. I remember the little,
none of that shit is
Asian
little fat Asian kid
Cub Scout.
Yeah, none of that is in the first draft. I think there's warring kingdoms up in the clouds or some shit. Like it just and it just he talks about like sometimes you have a feeling. That's the initial thing that you want, and that's maybe all that survives from the from the get-go. It's a really interesting book, and it's the one thing that sort of kept me going through this week. But you can only read so much before you're kind of... Yesterday, they were installing our furnace, and I was reading for hours, and it's like, I'm fucking sick of reading. And it's like, what am I going to do? I should go do work. You know what? Finally, I let myself play some fucking Angry Birds.
You did.
I did. I let myself have fun.
We were full disclosure here. We were looking at our scores before we started doing the podcast
on Game Center.
And I am leaps and bounds over you. In my score.
I used to play a ton of fucking Angry Birds back when I first when it first came out and it was brand new on iOS. I don't think Game Center existed then, and then I deleted it for whatever reason, and I didn't install it until recently when I set up my my iPhone as new, and I was like, I need some fucking games. What games do I want? And Angry Birds was one of the ones I put on there.
See, one of the things, like...
So I'm only now just getting back to all the levels that I had already beat.
So folks out there at Rovio, if you're listening, I have your game rated as 1 star right now, despite having played it an obscene amount. And here's why.
Why is that, Uncle Steve?
Don't you fucking dare.
It's rated as 1 star. Sorry.
So I'm very much a completionist. So basically, all the different things you can do in the game.
Yeah.
One of them is to break like 500,000 blocks.
Okay.
Now, I should have done that a year ago, and I still play it on occasion on the toilet. And I still
Does that speak to what you
still
think
don't
of the
have
game?
that trophy or whatever the frick they call it. In PlayStation, they call it trophies. I still don't have that achievement on the game, so I don't have like all the achievements. That's the last one that I need to get.
Yeah.
I don't have it. And I can't for the life of me figure out why I haven't gotten it yet. And until that achievement happens, I will give you 5 stars when that achievement happens, because I have broken probably over 1 million goddamn blocks in that fucking game. So give me that fucking achievement, and hey, 5 stars from me.
5 stars. You go back. You win back.
You go all the way from 1 all the way to 5.
You're a completionist. Did you ever play? Did you play Wii Fit on the original? Wii Fit Plus.
I didn't get it until
until the Wii U.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I haven't played the Wii U version. There was this, or there is this airplane flyby game. It's not. I don't know why it's in Wii Fit, because you're really just flying a plane and it's not really.
Are you on the balance board though?
No, you're using the. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's not. Was it Wii Sports? Maybe it was Wii.
It's probably Wii Sports, because that makes more sense.
Wii Sports. It does make more sense. So it's the Wii Sports. Not Wii Sports Plus. What was the second one?
The Wii Sports Resort.
Yes, Wii Sports Resort. You can fly this plane, and we tried for ages to get every single one of those goddamn, because there's tons of them all over the island, and some of them are really easy. They're landmarks, and you collect them over time. But we could never. It would drive you insane. So don't start playing that one.
I have the game.
Well, don't play the airplane thing. It will drive you fucking crazy.
So yeah, there's a bunch of I was talking about on the PlayStation Network. They have different trophies and whatnot, and there's maybe 5 or so.
Yeah.
Games that I've gotten a platinum trophy, which equals you've gotten every trophy in this game. One of which was the first one I got was I think I have it here. Hold on, let me right behind me. Pretty easy. Is the Sonic's Ultimate Sega Genesis collection.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good if you want a bunch of old Sega games and you have PS3 or an Xbox 360, it's totally worth getting. It has Alex Kidd, Alien Storm, Altered Beast, Beyond Oasis, Bonanza Brothers, Columns.
The only one that I remember really well was Altered Beast, because my friend Alan in high school had a Genesis before we did, and he brought it over once, and we were just thrilled to be able to play Altered Beast.
It has both the Echo the Dolphin games, all the Golden Axe games, all the Phantasy Star games, Shining Force 1 and 2, and then Shining in the Darkness, and then all the actually, it's missing.
Golden Axe. That was the other one I liked playing.
Yeah, it was. But it's weird. They don't have probably the best Sonic game, which is Sonic CD.
Oh,
because people don't remember it because a lot of people didn't have a Sega CD.
Yeah,
but
my brother did.
He did, and I don't think it worked.
It didn't work very well. Yeah. What's funny is when we got the Wii, and you could download. It was the first system. Well, it was the first system I had as an adult.
That you could download games off the internet.
Yeah, I mean, that you could download games. I didn't realize that Stephanie, as a kid, had access to the Genesis, whereas I'd had access to the Nintendo. So she grew up playing Sonic. So when we could get Sonic, that was the game she wanted to play, whereas I had all the old Nintendo games. It was really strange because I didn't picture her as a video game person at all. But once she realized we could download Sonic, game over. That was what she wanted to play.
Yeah, I had both. I had both Super Nintendo and Genesis at a certain point. My mom's boyfriend got a Genesis from he worked at a grocery store or whatever, and he got it from one of the vendors for cheap because he did something. It was a quid pro quo kind of situation. And I'm look at that, some shady deals going on, getting Sega Genesises.
See, John had
Genocide. Genocide?
Sega Genocide? Oh, God. I never played that one.
I think that might be the show name. Sega Genocide.
John had the Genesis, but that was one that definitely stayed in his room. Like, I feel like the SNES might have been his, but it came out into the living room, or maybe it was the whole family's. The Genesis, the N64, everything from that point forward was he bought specifically and was his. And I didn't play the N64 until I went off to college and we started getting along again because we weren't living under the same roof.
Yeah, you know.
And then he'd be like, "Oh, you want to play?" And he'd bring the N64 out into the.
I remember when I got the N64 on release. I don't have it anymore. It was one of those things that I kind of regret doing, but I sold it. In fact, this is weird. Like, I sold my N64 for cash to go up to Canada with Will and this other kid Eric at the time.
That's weird.
And I remember
going it full circle.
I know. And I remember like Will being so mad at us because he was sitting in back and Eric and I both smoked.
Yeah.
I no longer smoke cigarettes, but for one reason or another, we were never smoking at the same time.
Oh, God.
And so and it was cold. It was the winter time.
Right.
And so it was old roll down windows. So we each had we'd roll down the window when we were having a cigarette, and so the smoke would go outside instead of staying in the car. and at a certain point, he just screams at us. He's like, "Could you fucking assholes smoke at the same time?" It's not something we were doing intentionally either. Yeah. It was just something that was happening.
Yeah, that's totally the sort of thing that I could picture myself doing, because I let myself get upset about really dumb shit, and I would, I would imagine that.
It was pretty funny, but like, I remember because I got it when it first came out. I remember buying it from Toys R Us, and I got of course it came with Mario 64, and I remember bringing it to your house.
Okay.
And your cousin Bill was over. And there's that thing, like, when you first play Mario 64, has, like, the Mario face. And you kind of pull on it and make it, just pull on it like a silly putty or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that, like, before you even started playing the game.
Yeah.
And then your cousin Bill goes, "Poke him in the eye." And I don't know why this stuck with me. And it stuck with your brother, too. It's just...
Poke him in the eye. Like, that was the other thing. Is my memories of video games growing up. Like, so Bill, you bring up Bill. He had a totally different set of games, and I remember his Nintendo, for whatever reason, was in his bedroom growing up. I'm pretty sure. So we wouldn't be in the living room. We would go to Bill's room and we'd play Nintendo. But he had a totally.
Did you look at old like Playboy magazines too under his bed?
I don't recall doing that. No.
Yeah, bullshit.
I know. I really don't. I think maybe if it was a little bit later, we were young when. I'm talking like original Nintendo.
I like, if thinking back, like the first time I saw.
Porno. we had an original Nintendo in our townhouse.
No, I'm talking about porno here. Stop it.
Wait. I'm saying just to say there was a time at which there was probably porno around and an original Nintendo. It was in college when the original Nintendo was kind of retro and we had that. But I don't recall there being porno and
I remember like there was this woman that would babysit me over the summer.
And she brought you porno?
No. But
she made a porno with you.
No, but her house was right near the South Row School in Chelmsford.
Where there's porno.
There's no, well, let me fucking get to that, all right? So we would I would. She had a son, and then he and I would go and walk over to South Row to play at the
playground.
What the fuck? I couldn't come up with fucking playground. So yeah, play at the playground, and there was a little wooded path we could go through, and then we were walking through the woods one day, and we didn't want to go to the playground yet. We were just kind of futzing in the woods.
Yeah,
and then we're kind of kicking leaves around in the woods, and then we saw. Like a small plastic bag. Yeah. Well, not that small, but a plastic bag in the woods. We're like, what the frick is that? So we kind of like kicked the leaves off of it. Yeah. And it was like, it was a porno magazine in a Ziploc bag, one of the larger ones. So like you could have it in the woods, and if it rained, it wouldn't get wet. Yeah. And we were like, holy, it was like not, because I'd definitely seen a Playboy before then.
Yeah.
But this was like, I think it was like Hustler or Swank or something like that.
Something a little dirtier.
Yeah, and we're like, what? And she's like holding open her vagina with both hands. Yep. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit.
She's like that is a flattering shot for any woman.
And I remember this being like, this is probably I'd be like 9 or 10, something like that. So I saw like hardcore pornography when I was 9 or 10.
I did not. No,
but I was only for like a little bit. It wasn't like kids today have that at their disposal, like absolutely. Anywhere, anytime. If you have like a freaking, unless you have like you're a good parent, which I imagine you are, and you're setting up parental controls all over your freaking devices.
I mean, but the thing is that I was just listening to a show on the way here where they're talking about schools and the way that they lock down stuff. Kids will always win out over parental control. They will find parental school controls. It doesn't matter. We have to do our best. We have to try. But when they want to get porno, they're gonna find porno.
So you just have to basically, not be a helicopter parent because that's not good either. But just be somewhere in between, like being a lax person and being someone that's constantly harassing them.
You want to try to protect them from the really terrible shit that's out there. That's gonna. I mean, and I'm not saying like most. Whatever. Let's not get into an argument about porn because there's two things based off of your story about the. About finding stuff in the woods that I want to get back to. Oh. So you have to try to protect them from the really.
Did you find a dead body in the woods?
No, it was about porn.
Oh, okay. You found porn in the woods?
Kind of.
Okay.
Anyway, protect your kids from the terrible shit. Prepare them for the fact that people have sex. It's not bad that people have sex. Like, look what the fucking violent shit that they can see. In the movies and stuff that we watch. I mean, talk about Sega Genocide. Like, we just watched Star Wars last night. When I really thought about it, I'm like, they just watched a planet get blown up.
You watched the first Star Wars?
We watched the first Star Wars.
Alderaan?
Yeah, you see a whole fucking planet get blown up. Like, that's a lot of fucking dead people.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it. Keep your your Woods story on deck. But like, I remember Dragon Ball Z. One of the things that they always did was they always like had a weird thing when like someone would get killed, and I'm doing air quotes there.
Right.
I remember at the beginning of the series because it was they would just say that people were being sent to the next dimension. Oh. And so like Goku, the main character, spoilers.
Yeah.
If you haven't fucking seen Dragon Ball, I mean, like it's been around for fucking 30 years. Eat shit. So he basically dies and goes on to and he's going off like on this really long snake road, and this is a long way to get to where, but like he falls off the road and he lands in which is I have to say a creative way of saying, but like he falls into hell in the actual original story.
Okay.
But when they localized it, they were like, we can't have, because like there's people that have shirts on that say hell, and they're like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
So basically, what they changed it to was the Home for Infinite Losers. So basically, they just like digitally edited the shirt so it said the acronym for that.
Okay.
And so like apparently we can't talk about death or anything, but then like there's this other part where like Vegeta and Nappa, like that meme, like his power level's over 9,000.
I think so.
Okay, so that's those two characters that are talking in that scene.
Yeah.
What, 9,000? But there's another scene where like Vegeta basically blows up a planet, and Nappa goes, "You sure sent that planet to the next dimension."
Oh, it's just so like we can show them all kinds of violence, but when it comes to sex, it's just
But another one of my favorite things is like they those two get to Earth, and then they one of them blows up a helicopter or something like that. And then I think someone was standing by and watching it. It's like, oh, it's okay. They both had parachutes. And it's like, nope. The people in the helicopter did not die when it blew up. They escaped on their parachutes.
Porno in the Woods.
Okay, back to Porno in the Woods.
That's actually a good title too. But no, I think Sega Genocide is going to win out. So. I'll go with Why does porno end up in the woods? It's one of the
things because that's where kids can go and find it and put it in a plastic bag. So
there's like a porno fairy who just sort of leaves it out in the woods. They're like, no, kids.
No, but like some kid gets it and they're like, well, we can't hide this at home. Well, I definitely did when I was younger, and I got it. People found, or my parents found it, and I caught some hell.
Yeah.
Because I remember I borrowed. I'm saying his fucking that last name. I don't care. I borrowed a porno tape from Mike Freeman, and I had it in my closet on like under some stuff, and I don't know what my mother was doing rummaging through my closet, but she found it and she flipped out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that bad. Like, thinking about the porno that's out today,
right?
Like the stuff that I whack off to on a daily basis, like it's totally tame in comparison to like the very well shot porno that I had in the bottom of my bottom of my closet.
As far as I know, my parents never found any of the porno that I had, but didn't jerk off to, because I didn't do that in my room, as we've talked about in a previous episode. As far as I know, they never found any of it. So I missed out on that.
But a kid would get one, and because like you can't hide it in the house, so you put it in a plastic bag and you hide it in the woods.
Well, here's the thing: when I lived in Dracut, I had this, and it was one of the last years that I lived in Dracut. I started going for runs in the morning, and I'd run along this path that was near a sort of wooded area, and I kept seeing porno boxes in the wood, and I think
boxes,
like boxes, not the tapes, like a porno box, like video cassette boxes.
I remember they would always be a lot bigger, and they had like this weird plastic.
They did. They were way. So like, try hiding that shit. Like, that was the thing. Where do you hide? Like you know, a regular size VHS tape. Like, you could hide in like a sock drawer or something like that. But these fucking things,
we just had to get rid of the box.
Yeah,
which is
probably what these people were doing. Yeah. But I think what was happening is like somebody's trash was being gotten through, because there was other trash to be strewn along the path. But just every once in a while, you'd see a porno tape box sitting there. And now you've kind of answered my question for me, is how did that end up there? Well, it was probably that some dude got it, needed to hide it someplace, got rid of the box, and thought he got rid of it, but some raccoon got into his trash and strewn it all over the road.
Raccoon, my foot.
The other one, the more interesting one, I think, there was walking back from the comic book store. So I don't know, am I 13, 14? Before I had my license, but I was old enough that my parents let me walk back.
Why wouldn't you ride your bike?
Well, it was a rainy day, rainy night. So maybe that's
you
why.
Don't want to get. Yeah, you can walk with an umbrella.
Maybe that's what
you
it
can't
was.
Really walk with an umbrella and a bike.
I was walking back. It was late at night, and I'm coming through the center of town, and I see.
Are you going to end up being raped in this story?
No. But I see a kind of a white piece of paper. I recall it being kind of a white piece of paper that's kind of soaked because it had been rained out. But there's kind of an attractive woman on it. And I'm like, what's this? So I pick it up, and it is. Now, what I'm trying to remember, I could say it's one thing, but my memory might be just playing tricks on me. It was either a big phone sex ad, like the whole bunch of phone sex stuff.
Well, probably at the back of a magazine.
It had but it was the insert to a magazine or something, almost like what you'd get in the old Boston Phoenix or something like that, like in their adult section. I feel like it was that, or it had something for escorts. So
so you're like, I need to get to a payphone.
I did. I picked that thing up. I actually think that night I just brought it home with me.
And you called it from home?
I did not. No, I did not call it from home. And then I think on a future night, I actually took it back out with me, found the payphone down.
In the woods?
I did not jack off in the woods. I never jerked off.
I know, apparently.
I don't do that. I'm a nice boy.
You're not a boy.
I was a nice boy. And so I think I brought it down to a payphone, picked up. The moment that I got an actual live woman's voice, I think I hung up. I was just because I think back at that point, like, it was a 900 number or whatever, and the first couple minutes were free.
Well, you can't call a 900 number from a payphone.
I think or maybe it was a number in which you could call for a few minutes for free, but then you had to provide a credit card. Obviously, I was like 15, 14, whatever it was, and I did not have a credit card. But I did call it. I think maybe I finally...
Was it the payphone near Skips? Or not Skips, Zesties, where it used to be.
No, because that would have been
way too public.
That was way too public. I think there might have been one right along near like where the Chelmsford gift shop is, or like right around there.
So you're sitting there on the payphone, jacking in a dark alley.
I would not have done that in public.
Well, it's okay. You would have been a minor at the time.
Yeah.
So. Dude just needed to get one out.
Just needed to, yeah.
Talking to sexy ladies on the phone.
Talking to sexy ladies.
Is there still a market for porno lines?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like at least back when the Phoenix still existed, and back when the Phoenix came out, and there was that adult section, I feel like most of the adult section was numbers that you could call.
But that was probably all escorts, though.
A lot of them were still like phone sex line, even though they probably weren't making a lot of money. But that was the only place they would advertise.
Yeah,
right. Like,
that and probably Hustler and Swank.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that we were never put off of phone sex lines after seeing the Aerosmith video for what fucking video was it? It was for an old song, but they finally made a video of it in the late 80s, early 90s, and there's a
dude looks like a lady?
No, it was like, it might have been Walk This Way, or it might have been something of that vintage, and there's an attractive woman who's sort of talking to a dude on the phone the whole time, but then when the phone gets hung up, it's actually a woman, a very obese woman, holding her baby sort of on her hip while she's ironing, and she's got the phone on her shoulder, and she's the one that's been
who cares if they have a sexy voice? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I shouldn't bring this up because we're at 1 hour. But
gives a shit. Let's go a little long this time. But we were worried we wouldn't have anything to talk about this week.
Back when I was, I'm trying to figure out which. I think this is between the North Carolina girl and the girl that I lost my virginity to in my internet exploits. Or maybe it was after I lost my virginity to her, but before I got back together with her that fall briefly. I was still on that same website, the name of which I cannot remember. And I
doesn't jerk off, but still wants to have a romantic relationship.com.
Yes, that one.
/tilde.
I found a woman in Haverhill. So yes, it must have been. It was that summer between, because I was about to go back to school, and I found this woman. She was in Haverhill. I was like, oh well, I could. I'm going back to Haverhill. Maybe she and I. And so we communicated a lot by email. But I finally get on the phone with her, and that was basically I ended everything that was happening by email when I finally heard her on the phone, and she sounded like one of the women in one of the sisters in The Fighter. You ever seen The Fighter?
Yes, but I don't remember it. Do one of these your famous impersonations.
The stereotypical like Lowell trailer trash, really.
You're really alienating some audience here. Like there could be some Lowell trailer. Where is there a fucking trailer park in Lowell?
All right, Chelmsford trailer trash. Like the stereotypical.
I have friends that grew up in the Chelmsford trailer park.
All right,
so fuck you.
So not trailer trash, but like the sort of stereotypical like had way too many cigarettes.
Hey buddy, like that,
but a woman,
no, but obviously a woman.
Yeah,
so like Marge's sisters, like on The Simpsons.
Yes, like Marge's sisters. I got on the phone
only with a Boston accent.
Only with a Boston accent, and I got on the phone, and any boner that I had for this woman went away, and I like.
She could have been really hot.
She could have been. She probably was very, very hot. I did not see a picture, but. She probably was very, very hot. You should have
just gone over there. You should have hung out and been like, just don't talk, please.
Just please don't talk. Oh, so yeah. Sometimes it's the voice. The voice is what makes or breaks it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to have conversations with the women that I'm with. I guess.
Oh well, you're very progressive.